Guys, we got an absolute banger for you guys here. An off-stream match in the KMW, the Kings Major West League, that I actually cast for. Unfortunately, this was off-stream match, so I did not cast it. Involved Miyu, and it was the only time it was picked. So let's go ahead and watch it. It is being used by Moaji on MKOI, one of the star players on that team, versus VP. Their current, it is game 2 of the best of 5, and from my understanding, they lost game 1. So they're on the back foot and they're busting out Miyu. I'm very excited to see how this goes. I've never watched it, so I'm gonna be reacting to it live with you guys. Let's go ahead and get started. First, let's look at the drafts. They have Argrin, Gan and Mo, Marco Polo, Liang, and Miyu. So it looks like they have a pretty resource heavy composition here. Everyone kind of wants a lot of resources and wants to do their own thing. They're probably a little bit better at split pushing, as they're all individually strong, but they're not as crazy in a team fight. Liang kind of makes up for that a bit, letting them lock someone down. And they're versing Elaine, Dan Wei, Nua, Long, and Dolia. A very good combo on the side of VP as well, too. Having the Long Dolia combo to reset the Infinite Vastness, reset the Nua ult is very important as well, too. Resetting the Elaine ult. Good composition on both sides. I think draft-wise, I might have to give the composition to VP here. But let's go ahead and get started. Sprint Elaine, though, is very interesting. Y'all can't see it, but he's going sprint. All right, let's get started. Enough of this. It looks like it's a Frenzy Miyu. That's what I play, too. Let's go. There's going to be no commentary other than me here, as it is just a off-stream match. None of the casters got a chance to watch it. And we're in. Let's go. Am I in the right position here? I hope I'm not blocking anything. They have Nua and Dolia start middle for some priority. It seems like trying to slow down the Ganamo so it doesn't steal any jungle. Yep. Liang gets comboed out. And there he goes down to half. Argrin coming middle too to help push there. So since they went ahead and comboed the Liang, they could not combo the minions there. So they actually have the push advantage on the side of MKOI, and they steal over the boars. Ganamo's still level 1, and Ganamo actually helps the Argrin get the blue. Okay, here's the Miyu. That Miyu getting lane priority here. Come on, let me see more of that Miyu. Miyu getting lane priority in the clash lane against the Elaine. Elaine definitely cannot 1v1 Miyu early game, especially a Frenzy Miyu. So Miyu gets the neutral there and pushes Elaine in and gets priority. As we see, lots of shenanigans going on throughout the map right now. Argrin is just going to try and farm up. And Gan and Mo is helping him clear the jungle quicker. And then we see a bit of a 1v1 in the clash lane. Nua comes in. Oh, Miyu is 1v2 here. 1v2 in front of the enemy tower. Throws the skill 1 back, takes it, and gets out. Surviving a 1v2. There we go. That's my girl right there. That's Miyu. Very excited. In this game in particular, I would probably go a bit more of a bursty build here with the breakthrough robe, probably, instead of a traditional DPS build, because you're not going to be able to just stand and auto attack the Liang. Elaine goes in the air, so you can't really sit there and keep autoing him. So I'm not going to go the Shadow Ripper or a more attack speed focused build. I would personally go a little bit more of a bursty build, revolving around being more durable and having your ultimate do a lot of damage here. Goose getting potentially caught out here by Dolia. Nope, gets dropped pretty low. Is not quite enough. Pretty passive game so far. I want to see more of the Miyu action here. As you see, Demon Cat invade the red side of VP. Dan Wei respects it though. Everyone is here. Miyu has the priority, has the level advantage on a lane, and has the skill to attach, get some autos off. I think VP did go ahead and smite it away though. Dan Wei ults in, follows Yang through the wall, but he should die for that as Argrin gets to execute on him. Ganamo drops out. Miyu is full HP, autoing people down. That's exactly what you want to be doing here. They get blocked out by the Nua wall though, but that is a 1-for-1 trading jungle for support. That's a good trade in my book. There we go. A limb on the Dan Wei. This game is very interesting. We see the Miyu and we see Dan Wei, you know, a very solo style character. We haven't seen any Dan Wei in any of the rankings weeks. If you guys want to catch up, make sure to watch some of the streams. Your boy is casting a few of them. Here, Marco Polo is chilling out against a Long. Marco Polo can just neutralize 1v1 against anyone. The skill 1 just lets him wave clear at range. We see the gold advantage is on the side of MKOI with the Miyu. As you see, they do the farm and then shoot the skill 1 and take it, just like in my Miyu guide, all right? Just like in that Miyu guide. Let me see some of these items. Let me see what the Miyu's going here. Yep. Attack speed boots into Golden Blade. That makes a lot of sense. Liang, Boots of Deafness Rush. Makes a lot of sense. Ganamo, Staff of Reverberation Rush. And it looks like the Ogren is rushing a Ominous Premonition, potentially. I don't think he's going to finish the jungle item there. So it's probably going an Ominous Premonition. Demon Cat doing a little bit of damage to Nua under tower, forcing her to flash away. Nua should be able to hold this with the ultimate here, though, to shoot down the wave. As Demon Cat goes ahead and invades the red on timer again. As you see, these pro junglers, they know the timing of not only their own jungle, but the enemy jungle. They know how to instantly get back in there at the right time. It looks like it once again gets smited away by Elim, though. Elim's doing a good job of smiting away these reds. As we see another fight come down. Miyu in the side of the fight getting auto taxing. Golden Blade should be acquired now, so those autos are hurting. Ultimate's still available from Waji here, but he goes ahead and backs up. So far, the Miyu looks like they're doing pretty good. I would say they're probably up in gold on their limb. They're up a level. Once we pop up the scoreboard in a second, we can see the gold, but I'd say they're probably up a good amount of gold. There's the Golden Blade being acquired. Miyu's probably biggest power spike is when the Golden Blade is acquired. And if you look at the levels here, Moaji on Miyu is level 8, whereas Sushi on the Lim is level 6. So Miyu beating Lim right now. Come on, let me see some more Miyu in pro play, guys. All right, it's kind of good. And then Miyu is able to take that tower solo as well, too. Here we are. Staff of Reverberation being picked up on the side of red there too. So a lot of wave clear for the Nua. Nua hitting that ultimate, chunking Kentao. Yeah. Miyu's one of those split pushers, so we don't see them much. But man, come on. I want to see some 1v1s, man. There we go. There we go. There we go. Waji on the Miyu. He's 3.6k gold compared to 2.7k, so he's up almost 1,000 gold on the lane here. And that's what happens when you pick a laning focused, a lane bully style character like Miyu. If you don't get ganked and you don't die to ganks or any skirmishes, you are naturally going to be ahead of your laner here. As we see, Miyu tries to steal some boars here and gets himself into a 1v2. Danwei forced to run away. Once that skill 2, the tethers attaches onto you, you really cannot beat Miyu. As Danwei forced to retreat there. A lot of pressure being provided by Waji here. Has complete control on the top side of the map. Now they're up to, as a team, they're up 2.5k gold too. As you see, Liang ult come out, and Nua, without flash, does get executed after getting grabbed by Liang ult. And then Miyu goes ahead and sinks through, uses the ultimate to dodge some damage. They're still in the fight though. Another tether gets onto Long, and Long goes down. Miyu forced to retreat here. Looks like Miyu's gonna go ahead and push topside. No. Does not go topside, ends up joining the fight once again. No tethers come out, unfortunately. I personally would have went topside and pushed that tower, but he's trying to go ahead and help his team here. There we go. Doing a little bit of baits here. Not enough means to take down that tower. If they went earlier, they would have gotten it. This could be bad for Miyu here. Wait, but he decides to fight it here. Decides to fight it, shoots the skill 1 away, and takes the bird out. There we go. Whenever your skill 1 is up, always shoot it in a safe direction, and then you can walk forward, walk back, whatever you want to do, and you always have that escape plan available. You always have that bird you can take. So far, excellent play by Moaji on the Miyu here. It looks like he's going Insatiable Tome second, but along the way, picking up a little bit of armor, because he knows he's against Danwei and the lane, which do a lot of physical damage. He does not want to get one shot. He wants to stay alive long enough to get a few autos in and maybe use an ultimate to dodge a crucial ability instead of having to use it in a panicked state. You're going to see a lot of Miyus actually do that. They go Golden Blade and Insatiable Tome, and along the way, you're going to see him build a few pieces of the Jerk and Cloth armor here. There we go. Miyu takes the red here, has the skill 1 through, does not take it, but that should get the tower. Nice, takes the skill 1 as the tower goes down, so they're in no threat of taking any tower damage. There we go. Elaine should walk up and get the vision sprite here in a second as Moaji goes ahead for a huge flank here. He's on 4, using the ultimate to go ahead and get away and rejoin his team. Great Miyu play so far. No deaths on Miyu. Really low on HP. Elaine going in for a dive, takes out the Marco Polo. Miyu is still in the fight, still getting those autos out, and all these are Golden Blade laced at autos, so they do a lot of damage. Yeah, look at the levels here, man. Moaji doing a great job of getting himself ahead and not really taking that many of his team's resources. That was the first jungle camp we've seen him take. Most of the camps he took was from the enemy side, so he denies the enemy and gets himself ahead and makes it so that the Ogren doesn't have to fight him for farm. Ooh, a bit of a mistake here. from Miyu, taking the skill 1 a little bit too early and letting the Overlord reset, actually. Honestly, I've done that before. I have not done that with Overlord, but I've done that with red and blue buff where I think it's dead and I take my bird away, you know? But that is unfortunate here, but it just shows, you know, Miyu not the most, he's probably not the most experienced on Miyu here because it is a bit of a niche pick, but he's playing it really well so far, regardless of that here. Being able to use the skill 1s to properly pressure and still be safe while doing it. Danwei trying to threaten him, latches the skill 2 on, doesn't get much. He needs to wait for skill 1 before he can play aggro here. Throw the skill 1 in a safe position, then walk up, bait some abilities, and take it back. But you have to be careful against Danwei. Danwei ultimate will follow you all the way to your location if you time it improperly, you know? You have to let Danwei hit you first before you take the skill 1. Here we go, big fight coming out. Conductor of Souls takes out 1. As you see, Argrin here just actually ends up kiting back 1 for 1. MCOR is doing great trades. They're constantly trading their support for a carry, which is exactly what you want to do as a team. They're up almost 4,000 gold now. Infamous Vadis is forced to be burnt here as they collapse onto Miyu here. Miyu's in a 1v3, pops the ultimate. It does not look like it's going to be enough, though, as Miyu goes down. A little bit overextended there by Miyu, pushing all the way up into the enemy high ground while his team was not in position to react. But it happens, man. Happens. As a split pusher, ooh, interesting. Third item from Muaji. Ogren's ward being picked up. So that's a big defensive item here. Usually, I personally go the breakthrough robe first for a little bit more damage, and then I round it out with the Ogren's ward. But he actually is opting to go to Ogren's ward first, get himself those resistances, you know, build up upon the effective HP that the Insatiable Tome gives you. And he should be really tanky at this point in the game. He's not going to do as much burst damage with the ultimate, but he's going to be really, really tanky. Ogren taking out another 2 kills. Liang once again goes down. Goose is kind of like the scapegoat of MCOI here, going down in these fights, but very favorable trades, trading support for, once again, a Clash laner and a jungler here. So interesting to note how Muaji plays. Muaji is probably in the competitive, you probably need a little bit more durability so you don't get one-shotted here, as teams are able to coordinate and take you out. So interesting item choice there to pick up the Argren's ward earlier, whereas usually people pick it up a little bit later, and I personally pick up a little bit later in favor of some more damage, whereas damage will get you that you know, burst potential on the enemy carry, and it will get you that 1v1 potential. The Argren ward will keep you alive, you know, and he still has some pieces of armor. Let's see what he goes ahead and builds up next. So what I'm noticing in his build here is his build does not currently have any magic penetration here. So next item is likely to be some magic penetration. Looking at the enemy composition, I think breakthrough robe probably makes sense. They don't have as much magic resist. Breakthrough robe is good against enemies. Oh my god, Muaji getting caught out again. Once again, takes the skill 1 in, but he's in a 1v4. He provides a lot of pressure, but he's gonna be able to go. He's gonna go down here, as his team once again is not in position to really capitalize on that. So you gotta wait until your team is in position to capitalize before you can push up, because they're allowed to send 4 people after you for free if your team is not in position. But this game, looking at the items on the enemy side, it's probably going to be a breakthrough robe. Void staff, if you're prepared for a lot of succubuses, makes sense. But if there's only one succubus, breakthrough robe is probably going to be a little bit better here. Elaine goes in, gets grabbed up by De Liang, and goes down, gets executed. Double execute coming out from Demon Cat. Demon Cat, was that a triple? No, that was a double execute. Argren is super scaled up this game. We have hit Argren late game, but they have probably scaled up on the long as well too. Miyu swapping boots here in the late game to the tenacity boots. That is a obvious choice here, as usually you don't want to get stunned up. The attack speed boots are amazing early game, but later on they fall off really bad, I think. When you see the items here, I'm predicting maybe a Twilight coming out from Miyu here. That's what the item's called, right? The item that gives you stacking magic penetration, or a breakthrough robe. Probably not Void, unless we see another succubus on the side of VP here. Another fight comes out. Miyu first to burn ultimate to get away. See, doing those baits will really mess with people's head. Walk up to them and then take your skill 1 that you know that's really far away, and they burn abilities. Nua ultimate goes in, goes wide. It looks like a bit of a smite fight. Miyu goes into a 1v4. Here we go. 1v4 is in. Okay, ultimate still available. Muaji still pushing up here. Really durable here, as you can see here, as he walks into a 1v4. VP, knowing they cannot go ahead and collapse on Muaji without getting punished by the full wrath of MCOI. Miyu probably not going to get MVP this game because Argon is doing amazing. But still, I think outside of getting caught out a few times overextending without his team being in position, doing a great job and definitely ahead of the lane in impact and gold here. As you see, Miyu constantly just split pushing. Hey, there we go. Hey, my solo queue teammates that wonder. Hey, what? Oh, it is the Twilight coming out from the Miyu here. As Miyu once again takes another fight, forced to use ultimate to get away. My solo queue teammates always wondering, why am I always alone? Why do I never group? That's how you play, Miyu. You got side lane. You know, you're such an amazing 1v1 character. You don't want to lose that power by joining a fight, right? Always side lane, always pressure your lane, and then come join the team fight when you have an amazing opportunity. But if you don't, keep side laning, all right? Miyu goes ahead and takes out the Shadow Vanguard here as they try to dive her. They try to dive her 4v1. Miyu, one of the hardest targets to dive here, as you can see, using that ultimate to dodge a bunch of damage. Argron's ward and Insatiable Tome healing all the way back up. Wow. Trying to dive Miyu. I'm surprised no one on VP went down for that decision there. Very interesting. Nua going away with the teleport. All right. As Demon Cat chases off the entire enemy team here. Interesting stuff. Miyu once again cleaning up the jungle. The good thing about going characters that go Insatiable Tome is you don't need to go back, you see? He was 1 HP there, does not need to go back. There's 2 camps in jungle, boom, full HP now. And if the longer you're on the map, the more gold you can generate and the more leads you can build, right? Miyu opting to go ahead and go bottom now, actually. As we see them pushing up bottom. And she's probably going to solo the Tyrant here, yup. Tyrant being started here by Miyu. Once again, playing pretty frontliney here on the Miyu, which is not that tanky, so it's impressive that they're able to survive. Here we go. It looks like MCO is just trying to bait them into a fight. As you see, a lane come down on the Miyu. Miyu getting dropped really low and actually one-shotted there. Wow. Yeah, Elaine has definitely scaled up that true damage. Hurts, cuts through all the resistances, but Demon Cat here is gonna get like a Penta. It looks like Demon Cat's probably gonna get Quadra here. Quadra kill. Can he go for the Penta? Wow. The Argon has really scaled up here, as you can see. Alrighty, and then that should be gamer. Can they protect this one cannon minion here? They need to tank the tower, protect the one cannon minion. Dahlia trying to take it out, but long ult comes out. That's GG. That's GG. Miyu, the only one that died, but she did her job. She tanked, right? They had to burn everything on her. Forgot about the Ganemo. Forgot about the Argon. There we go. Very excited to watch this game, guys. Game 2 of VP versus MCOY. MCOY is down 0-1, but the Miyu 0-3-6, not the cleanest KDA, all right? Demon Cat MVP here, obviously 14-1-2, but you see them apply a lot of pressure early game, and even though, look at this, that's what I always say, score does not matter that much. 0-3-6, ugly score, right? Elaine, 4-3-7, better score. Look at the numbers, man. 11,000 gold on the side of Miyu. Only 8,700, okay? KDA is not everything. You gotta farm. You gotta steal enemy jungle. What we don't see in these 3 numbers here. Whoops. Whoops, where'd it go? These, the highlights? No. What we don't see in these numbers here are how many times Mwaji threatened their jungle, how many times he stole their red, how many times he helped this team do Overlord alone, how many times he did Tyrant alone, right? That's what we don't see in these numbers here. And that's how he has that 3,000 gold lead. And he's full build compared to Sushi's like 4 items here. But it's interesting now that we see the builds, they're actually going Shadow Ripper. I see a lot of Miyus go Shadow Ripper. Me personally, I am really not a big fan of Shadow Ripper. I feel like Shadow Ripper is a win more item. What Shadow Ripper does is it gives you a lot of attack speed, and when you crit, you get more attack speed. But the thing is, if I'm able to latch onto someone with a skill 2 and auto them down, I'm gonna win anyway. Do I need the extra attack speed from Shadow Ripper? Probably not, right? If you latch on skill 2 on the Dan Wei, do you need Shadow Ripper to beat him? Probably don't. So I personally, when I build Miyu, I prefer something like the Sanctuary instead of this, or the Splendor, to give me a little bit more time and like distraction potential instead of the Shadow Ripper. But if you're against a team with a lot of tanks, let's say Liang Po, I love building Shadow Ripper against Liang Po because I can just auto him down and it cut him in half. But the side of VP, who's gonna get auto attacked a lot, right? Long is gonna infinite vastness in the air, then you can't auto him anymore, right? Elaine is going to go in the air. You can't auto him anymore. Dolia, if you're autoing her, she's gonna die anyway. You don't need the Shadow Ripper to cut her down. Nua is gonna be so far away that you cannot auto her realistically in a fight. Dan Wei is probably the only person that you're gonna use that attack speed against here. And I personally prefer to build an item that is better against all the units of the enemy team. With the split pushing the Muaji was doing, he could have easily went Splendor. He could have went a Sanctuary at the end, right? And then caused a lot more pressure and wasted a lot more time. But interesting stuff, though. Still masterfully played by Muaji here. One of the top players here in Global. Great game. Shout out to MKoi for busting out the Miyu. Drop a like if you guys enjoy this type of stuff. And I'll see you guys next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to watch the streams, guys. I'll be casting again next week.